L-O-V-E. Love is a solution, so set your love free with the L-O-V-E. For the evolution and blessed unity with the L-O-V-E. Love is a solution, so set your love free with the L-O-V-E. For the evolution and blessed unity.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Self-Love Show. We are back. We're always live Thursday at 10 a.m. I'm your co-host, Dawn Light, and my co-host, Trish Wright, is taking a little break for today. She had an important thing she needed to land today. So I have an amazing guest with me today, Natalia Price. I'm going to read her little intro in a second. And today's going to be a great show all about clearing. And for those that are new to the show, welcome. And in case you didn't know, we have a YouTube channel we would love for you to go and explore in. There's been a powerful 2 years of container of videos and really amazing people that have been on the show. And we just want to inspire you to go there. If you feel stuck or need a little boost in any way, there's lots of topics because self-love is this giant, topic, and it shows up in all kinds of ways. And today it's going to show up in this powerful container of clearing ourselves with a beautiful guest and my sister here, Natalia. So without further ado, I'm going to read Natalia's little intro. So Natalia Price is very, very powerful sister, dear sister of mine. I've been in her program and I can honestly say she's an amazing teacher and holds with such grace. So she's going to teach us today about grounding and clearing yourself to become the clear vessel so that inspiration, creativity, and feminine power can flow through you. Natalia is fiercely dedicated to empowering women to remember what makes them feel alive, centered, and whole, and use that to be of service to the rising of the divine feminine, to lift consciousness and rebalance the planet. She facilitates a year-long Priestess program in the 13 Moon Mystery School, as well as new and full moon gatherings. She does one-on-one soul work with individuals, workshops, and community rituals. Oh, thank you so much, Natalia, for being here with me today.
It's such a joy and honor to be here, really.
Yay! Your work is so powerful, and what you do and help sisters really rise to, their sacred yes and their offerings into the world. And you're really holding this powerful container of light and support and nurturing. And I just really honor you for what you bring to the table to support sisters in coming forward in their beauty and their grace.
I am just continuously humbled in this path. And I see how it's so important for all of us as women to inspire and lift each other up in this new way. That, the old paradigm of the patriarchy is no longer serving us. And it's about all of us in this together.
It is about all of us in this together. We lift each other up. We rise together. It's so true. And I just find your message today so important, right? To continuously clear ourselves to become the vessel. And I love that message that you're bringing in the show today. And I just encourage our viewers to, what does this mean to you? Type into the chat box so that we can communicate and have a dialogue today around that. And at some point, Natalia will lead us through a little clearing. And yeah, can you explore with me here? What does that mean to you exactly? For those viewers that don't know or maybe don't do ritual, right? Like you and I are very familiar with it, but others may not be. So let's have just an authentic conversation about exploring that.
Yes, as all of us going out into the world and showing up in the way we'd like to, or whatever our, as entrepreneurs, as business women, as ritualists, as mothers, there is that outward face that we have to the world and the presence that we show up with. But so much of that, really, the foundation is that inner work that we do with ourselves that is around, our mindset, our own self-care, our grounding, and our clearing ourselves so that we can truly be this clear, empty vessel for the divine to come through us, for, however it might be for you, as inspiration or as a transmission or as a download, to really open ourselves up to be clear of all the static of, the shadow, the fears, the doubt. And yes, all of those are all part of the human experience. But the more inner work that we do, that we commit to in ourselves, in centering ourselves, in grounding ourselves, and in committing to a practice, any sort of practice, be it a morning practice, a ritual, a yoga, meditation, dance,
Mhm.
helps to cultivate in us that sense of really being present and grounded and embodied. So
Mhm.
then when we go out into the world, our whole being just knows we're there, we're fully there.
Mhm.
And as we all know, how we're showing up in the world, it's so much about vibration and frequency. It's not even so much about the way we look or the things we do or things we say. It's so much deeper to the subconscious. And
Mhm.
when we show up somewhere just fully embodied,
Mhm.
knowing who we are, loving ourselves, that really ripples out in this effect, and it creates change without people even needing to know exactly what it is or how it's done or wanting to name it.
Mhm.
It's an essence and a quality of how we move in the world.
Mm. I love that. It's so true. It is vibrational frequency that you're speaking about. And when we clear ourselves, like you're speaking about, or do a practice of any sort, it helps us be full of who we are come here to be.
Yes, and how much that awareness of that is needed. And
Mhm.
often, many of us are doing things unconsciously, or even the way that we, step into our day or in our business, or, we have these rituals of, let's say, take a shower or do a workout. But how can we really draw them into a place that brings us into that slowing down, into
Mhm.
an awareness? And then intentionally, what is the energy that we want to bring into, the next project, the next thing we're moving into, or just into our energy and how we move in the day, or our mindset around our business.
Mhm. I love that. That's very, very, very powerful and a great offering for each person because I think that each person does have ritual in their day. They just might not be aware that that's their personal ritual. Like you mentioned, a shower and a workout, like that's ritual. It's just, are you bringing consciousness to it? Are you bringing awareness to practice it in a way that feels more embodied, where it's not just a rushed, oh, I got to get through the day, I got to get through the task, right? Because that can easily happen in our human existence.
In the 13 Moon Mystery School that I'm a part of, we have a practice that's called Feed the Feminine First.
Mhm. I love
And it means to start our day with doing something that feeds that feminine aspect of who we are. And feminine, not in that sense of a gender, but of that inner quality that we have. We all have this inner divine masculine and feminine
Mhm.
that live within us, that we're constantly playing in and out of, whether or not we're aware of them or not. And because we live in this patriarchal world where everything has been designed, in that male mind of being linear or logical or productive, we very easily fall into that and we get very mental and we're trying to figure everything out from the mind.
Mhm.
And yes, that serves us in moments where we really need it. But then after we've done that part of figuring it out or making that list or, doing those linear pieces, then how can we lay that to rest and allow that feminine flow to come into our being, where we
Mhm.
can be more receptive and more open to creativity, to imagination, to what is, in that kind of place of surrender, which allows us to be able to receive the magic, receive the play, or, just the beautiful things that the universe gives to us each day, where it's just like, yes, these everything's just kind of magically snapping into place.
That's
And,
really powerful.
and so how can we be aware of this balance and play And so part of this is starting our day with any kind of practice that really brings us back into that inner presence and slowing down to the feminine. And it could be anything such as, um, meditation, breath work. It could be something as simple as just lighting a candle and being with that, or doing a gratitude practice, or perhaps there's, it could be self-pleasuring in our bed. It could be getting up and dancing or getting up and going for a walk. But anything that really makes us, before we just go straight to our to-do list or our computer or our workout or whatever, that kind of mental, what am I getting done today?
Mhm.
How can we just be in that feminine and tune in and kind of check in with ourselves? Where am I at today? What are my intentions?
Mhm.
What am I grateful for today? What is
Yeah.
the energy that I want to impart into my day,
Mhm.
into my relationships, into my food, or, the projects that I'm stepping into in this day?
Mhm. It's like an embodied gratitude practice is what I'm hearing you say. It's bringing that energy present instead of just moving through the day. I think as humans, we have so many things. I can speak for myself. I'm a mom. I have a husband. I'm married. I have a full practice, and there's a lot of parts, a lot of moving parts. So it's really, you have to be very conscious of like really bringing this energy, which you're speaking of, in, because it's very, very easy to be human and just get into the flow of doing, 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 doing. It's so easy to fall into that. And so I love, love, love this because it's so true. Just stopping for a moment before you move on to the next task, even, I find, is very helpful to just give yourself a breath, put your hand on your heart. Sometimes I do this throughout the day, no matter where I'm at, in the kitchen, cooking, whatever I may be doing. I'll just pause and like honor myself and put my hand on my heart and kind of breathe for a moment and ground. That's, just a second. That's all it takes, is just a second to just honor your temple, honor your beingness, what you're going through, what you're experiencing. It's like giving way to the greater, to be a part of it, to like open through.
Yes, yes. And so that's what starting the day in that way kind of initiates for all of us, to that slowing down, that checking in, and how you're speaking to them throughout the day, finding, tiny moments.
Mhm.
I find one that's really good is even in the car, before you're about to step out of your car to do whatever you're doing, to just take a moment there, breathe with yourself, tune in,
Mm.
what is real, what is the intention or the energy, the frequency that I want to start whatever I'm doing with.
Mm. What a powerful message. Love this. What is the frequency I want to start with? I just encourage everyone to like really lean into that. Ask yourself that. That's really such a good question. I don't think we ask ourselves that enough, right? Because we're so thinking about all the things and what do I need to wear for this event or whatever the task is. And you're not thinking about what frequency do I want to bring. That's powerful. What a great message.
Hmm.
Lands for
And
me.
so, of course, it helps to have, a practice that you can stick to and commit to. And for many of us, it helps to have the same practice over and over. And
Mhm.
it could be, a simple breath work practice or a meditation or sounding. And also, there's an aspect of just listening within to, what do I need today? Do I need to just get up and put on some music? Or do I need to just instantly be outside in nature? And just today, what is my body asking for?
Mhm.
And feeling in for each one of us, what is that? So that we don't get tricked by the mind and by the world on what this idea of productivity might be, or that I should start my day with, this thing, or let's say, even if it is, let's say, a cup of coffee, how can we make that something that brings us into presence? That's almost like a meditation, that we're sitting there, I don't know, looking out the window with our coffee, that we're taking time for ourselves and some level of, stillness and awareness.
Yes, very good. I find that it's so helpful. Like I have a writing practice that I lean on often. It's a writing from my higher self when I feel that I need to just be centered and allow that attunement to take place. There's just something so powerful. Just in it, it doesn't have to take long. It can be like 5 to 10 minutes. But if I just give myself that spaciousness to sit down and do it, it is an amazing tool for me over the years.
Yes, I've done that before, the morning pages,
Mhm.
the artist way, right? And I like what you're saying that it doesn't need to be some hour-long practice or half hour, that often that deters us in our mind going, "I don't have time for this."
Mhm.
We all can make 5 to 10 minutes to
Mhm.
just get present with ourselves,
Mhm.
right? And that tune into that quality of this day. Be in it,
Mhm.
make the time, and even with my family, I've trained them to learn to honor that, and I have an 8-year-old son, and as he was a baby, I would really teach him that mama's just gonna sit here at the altar for 5, 10 minutes, and that he
Right.
could soothe himself, that he recognized this is something we do every morning,
I
and
love this.
yeah, learn to just,
Learn.
be on his own.
Mhm.
And then even before he could even do that, we were still in bed or breastfeeding, that I would just make my practice be in bed while we were doing that,
Mhm.
so that it was whatever it was, just to bring mindfulness
Mhm.
inside.
Yes, I've taught my son that too as well in our own practice and in the morning time, like when we're still laying in our bed, I'll sometimes be awake and present, but just attuning, and they know when I'm quiet and I'm like doing that, or sometimes I'll have headphones on and listening to a practice. They know not to disturb me. So it's nice to just be a family unit and figure out how to do that and what it is for each person. And I love that we spoke about, it's really common to I find this, listening to clients and things as I coach that, I really lean into helping them cultivate, a practice for themselves also, like a self-nurturing practice, because it's a part of like how we feel fed, right? What we're speaking about is self-nurturing. And so it doesn't matter how you do it, it's just important that you do it. And so it's really, really common to people to fall into the trap, like we said, of believing that there's not enough time. And people think that somebody spiritual it's a common thing for in amongst people to believe that they have this all spacious morning and they could do like a 3 hour. That might be wonderful for the person that can do that, but there's a lot of people that have full lives. They have jobs, 9 to 5s, whatever it may be. And it's so important to remind each person, and this is why we're speaking about it right now, is to remind you that you can take 5 minutes. You can take that 10 minutes, wherever in the day you need to take it. And even if it's not in the morning and you need to do it in the afternoon after you've dropped your kids off and all the things, then lean into it. Where can you take that 5 minutes for yourself? And really allow yourself to let go of needing it to be a thing of it has to show up this way.
Exactly. All that level of expectation, or there has to be some super spiritual holy practice. Do your favorite practices, try different ones, or maybe try sticking to one for 2 weeks.
Mhm,
But really doing that intuitive listening to the wisdom that you hold, that your body knows.
mhm. Yes, we are a sacred temple. Our body is a sacred temple, and like spirit is divinely flowing through us at every second of our life, our breath, right? And so it's so powerful. We co-create with spirit, and when we give over that spaciousness, it's such a deep honoring that takes place. Spirit is like, yes, I can come right in and I can make magic flow in your life when you're honoring it.
Yes. So that we can live with both aspects, with that human and that divine element of who we are really coming into balance.
Mhm.
That yes, we can do that work and organize things and put things in motion. And then how do we allow ourselves to rest and surrender to receive,
Mhm.
to
What
allow the divine to just come in?
So what are your tips and tools there about around surrender? Because I could hear that's so big for you and your practice, right? And that's a part of the medicine you teach and share. So I just would love to hear a little more about what that means for you and any any tool you want to share today around surrender.
Yeah. You know, the aspect of surrender is one of the foundations of the 13 Moon Mystery School of how to learn to do that consciously. We work with archetypes of the divine feminine, and the first archetype we work with is the Great Mother. And it's this energy of really being held, of allowing ourselves to be in the mother's embrace so that we can feel safe, and even working with those shadows aspects of where we might feel unworthy or unlovable or
Mhm.
not enough. And so when we can just allow ourselves to surrender, to lay those pieces down, and with that, laying down our stress or our problems or our stories or our traumas.
Mhm.
And, sometimes they're so deeply embedded in us in the way that we were raised or what was conditioned into us that we often have, right? They're part of the work, the pieces that we carry with us.
Yes.
But if there's moments where we can just consciously surrender it and lay it down,
Mhm.
just for this practice, just for this morning, I'm laying down the stress about whatever, this big problem, or I'm laying down this hurt or this grief,
Mhm.
and how it creates a spaciousness within us. It
Mhm.
creates this level of trusting that for this time, I'm going to be okay,
Mhm.
that I'm being held here, that there's this element of being nurtured,
Mhm.
of being embraced in these deep arms. And then when we allow this place of surrender to happen, it just opens up when we allow ourselves to let go of controlling, letting go of expectation, of letting go of how everyone else is going to perceive us or how this is going to work out. Because the truth is, we don't really know.
We
We
do.
can have an idea in our head and we can have an expectation that, yes, I, put this amount of work in, or I paid for this and I'm going to get this. But then there's just the natural unfoldment of the universe. And
Mhm.
however you might perceive that as God, goddess, or as good luck or as blessings, so much of it really has to do with what is the energy that we're carrying. And,
Mhm.
people might see it as a way of this idea of, oh, mindset, or, the quality of how I'm feeling or how I'm thinking. But so often for us, it becomes unconscious. We're just going in our day to day, hoping for something good to happen, but not really sure. And so we really allow ourselves to slow down, to take these breathers throughout the day, to tune into to what's real, what's alive in me.
Mhm.
And even often knowing these, like, oh, I'm carrying a lot of grief. Oh, depression is really alive in me today. I'm going to just honor that and be with it.
Mhm.
And that also gives things space to then soften the edges, right? Or even that stress. Okay, now that you've been allowed to be seen or to be heard.
Mhm. It's laying down any resistance that you may have to whatever the hard feelings existing inside are.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that piece, that resistance or the blockages or what's holding us back, that so often we might be aware of when we analyze or write it down, or I like, oh, I know these are my issues, but often we don't see the unconscious ways that they're playing themselves out.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, this is the work I do in my own practice with my clients is help them see the unconscious roles that it unfolds and where it's adopted, right? Because it's a combination of, our younger years and like what happened, and it produces itself in a new way in our adult years. And it's so subtle and yet so deep because it has to do with intergenerational healing,
Yes.
intergenerational patterning. And it can be very deep and profoundly hard to shift and go through. So I love that you're speaking of this in this way because I find in my own work and with myself even, I've had to really pay so subtle attention to like how it's showing up in my life and how am I co-creating with spirit this aspect or this piece. And it does mean slowing down. Like slowing down has helped me get through it because it's like the natural tendency is to want to get through it, I just want to get through it. I want to get to the end. And I've heard many of my clients say this very phrase, I want to just get through it. But we've got to feel all the parts to heal it.
Yes. Especially for us too in the 13-Moon Mystery School, we call this the shadow work of working with the unconscious. It's based a lot on Jungian psychology and that aspect of getting to know what's underneath there, getting to know what is the blockages, what is resistance, what are the negative self-talk or that inner critic that so many of us have, right? That take us into a place of self-doubt or feeling unworthy. And to just get in there and befriend it, explore it. What's here, sometimes it might help knowing or where this came from or why I have this in me. But often we can't pinpoint it exactly. And the truth is, it's just there regardless. We could say, yes, this was passed on to me from my mother's line, or this thing happened to me as a child. But whatever it is, just being with it, holding the grief, holding the separation, or even the feeling of I don't belong. How can we really be with it instead of trying to cover it up or do things that make us feel good? How can we go directly and face the fears? Listen to what's there. What are they trying to tell us? And so often than not, it's just really being with ourselves and loving ourselves up. And for each one of us too, what does that mean to love ourselves up? Right? This is concept that's out there, and we know very much of what it might look like to love others and what those acts might look like, or to be, in service or kindness. But I think it's an amazing just inquiry to be with ourselves is how do I love myself up? How do I show myself love? What are the things I do, I say, I be with myself?
Yes.
Same way that you might offer them to somebody else, can you offer them to you? And really making that into a practice, into a conscious practice. Like you speaking about writing and journaling in the mornings, that is a way of being with myself, of listening to myself.
Yeah, Kenneth says by working out daily.
Yes. Oh my God, all of that. All that creates that oxytocin energy that we feel good about ourselves and knowing I'm committing to myself. I am making time in my day to work out. As we all know, there's no such thing as free time anymore. It's not just like, oh, when I can, I'll go to the gym. It's like, no, I need to
make the time.
Yes. And even on those days that I don't necessarily feel the best to it, you're like, no, I committed to myself and my body. And those are those self-love acts.
And this actually is a very powerful thing, what you're speaking about, commitment to self. When we follow through with commitment to ourself, it builds our self-love. It builds the muscle of like the strength of like honoring self, right? And that radiates like an inner glow when we follow through with our commitments to ourself. It strengthens us in every way. And it just becomes an energy you exude of just like confidence and self-love and self-honoring because you're following through with the deep sacred commitments of your own heart, your intentions. But when we don't, it does harm to ourselves because then we start to doubt ourselves and we distrust ourselves because we're not following through with our own integral commitments to our own heart.
Yes. Oh, I love what you're saying there.
And it's so powerful. And I think that it's so subtle because sometimes we make these commitments to ourselves and we don't really write them down, or it's just a thing we say internally, but then we maybe shift away from listening to it. that I'm just speaking in terms of when I coach with people and what I find in their journeys. And I've experienced a lot of coaching at this point in my journey. And so I can see this thread of how it shows up for people. And it's really important to like lean back in and go, wow, what was my sacred commitment to myself? What did I say? What did I make an honoring intention here? And go, wow, am I following through? Or do I need to shift it a little bit so I can honor it? Because sometimes it's a overzealous commitment of like, I'm going to go 7 days a week. And that maybe that's just not, really accurate. Maybe you need to start with 2 or 3, to really be able to follow through with that commitment, and
Yes.
it's beautiful, right? It's all about the practice and really adjusting it to where it can truly anchor and land. And then it becomes this second nature. Like going to the gym is second nature for me. I love it. I follow through it. Like we're speaking about, even when I don't feel good, I show up because I can see the shift that it does for myself and my body. It's a very important thing to honor myself in that way.
Yes. And that's why really writing down your commitments to yourself, writing down the practices that you are disciplining yourself with is so important because that helps to keep us accountable.
Mhm.
And that's why sometimes, like going to the gym where there's other people around or you have other gym buddies, that helps you hold to it. Because yes, you know, everyone else is here doing this. I'm going to be here doing it too. Or when you take a class, it's because everyone else is keeping up that you don't slow down. I would never do that many sit-ups or burpees on my own if it
Right.
was, someone else helping keep that energy going.
Mhm.
And so recognizing what kind of a student you are or what you need for yourself. If you have a hard time making it to whatever, that yoga class, that gym thing, that walk, maybe you need, an accountability buddy or, finding ways that help hold you to that. And not necessarily something that has to do with like, how much weight am I losing or, that they're an outward kind of way that we're measuring it. And how can we really measure it from the inside and also what really makes us feel good?
It's so true. What really makes us feel good? What is that for you? I encourage our viewers, anyone that's watching today, what are the sacred commitments and what are the, if you feel like sharing, what are the things that the practices that you lean on that make you feel good and alive and vibrant, that light you up? I'm so curious. I can mention the ones that I lean on, are really writing, meditation, guided visualizations, sacred bath time when I need it. And also I love to sit in the sauna and do a guided visualization. That's a go-to for me. It's just something about the sweating, it's the clearing, it's the heat and the intensity makes my mind go very deep and focus, like, or not my mind, but my consciousness, and really go deep inside to get to the accurate, like what's really going on. There's something powerful there for me over the years. I mean, that's why I bought a sauna, because I knew it would work for me. So those are some of mine, that I squeeze in throughout the week, to get my morning practice has fallen away because of, taking a child to school. So I've had to integrate my morning practice later in the afternoon, or in the early evening. So I'll have a short moment in the morning, but then a longer later in the day for myself.
Yeah, for each one of us, I think it's really getting in touch with what works for you and your own time and your own schedule and not trying to hold it to someone else's standards or someone else's expectations.
Yeah. Summer. Hi, Summer. So she says, my sacred commitment to me is dancing deep in my garden of joy daily here in Hawaii. Yes, sister, we see you. I want to come join you in Hawaii. Summer is amazing. She does, we do sine wave, and that spreads our beautiful message out amongst many, many, many bandwidth on Facebook. And Summer is the founder of that. So thank you, Summer, for your love and dedication to all you do. We're so grateful.
Hmm. And also, I think it's good to even write down maybe the ones that you're not doing yet, but the ones that you would like to, or, like a meditation that you used to do or you learned somewhere. How can you get it? And even sometimes it helps to write it down or, copy it from some other book that you have into your journal to have it with you.
That's very important too, because it's recommitting to like bringing it on to the table or the plate, right?
Yeah. Or, recording it into your phone so that you have it with you.
I had a practice when I was first starting my coaching practice because I was struggling from moving from one thing to the next for a long time to go from what was the old to the new. And there was like this, and I think this can happen for people. And so I had a practice where I recorded on my phone me talking about what it felt like, me doing it, like I just like wrote out this whole script of what I needed to say to myself. And then I would listen to it daily for a period of time. And that helped me make my transition.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. It's like for all of us to treat ourselves like we're our own therapist. Like, what would we say to ourselves if we were a client?
Hmm.
Because so often that inner critic just comes in and slays us, right? So, what are the affirmations that we have to be like, no, I'm not buying that story anymore. I
Hmm.
know I am divine. I know I was born for this. I got this. I can do this.
Yes. Yes, it's so important, right? That nurture that part of ourself that is the holy one inside, and not buy into the inner critic. And everyone has one. This is the humaning of our existence together. We share in it. We share in the journey of laughing at the inner critic together. Of like, nope, we don't have to buy into it anymore. My beloved teachers Ron and Mary have always shared that control is actually the master addiction of the ego.
Wow, what a way to put it.
Yeah, it is the master addiction, and so it's mastering ourself truly to learn to not buy into it at all. And it's a collection of all of our experiences, the shadow experiences we have in the world. And it's just it really its desire is to keep ourselves safe, because it doesn't know its existence past itself. And so it's hardwired into us to help us be human. And it's really to serve us. And so the inner work that we're speaking about today, the self-nurturing, the practices, all the things really give us an opportunity. The more we strengthen that, the more we do it, it's more and more teaching our egoic, inner critic self to kind of get into alignment with the higher self so that they can work in congruence and not be fighting, or pulling you away from off center, so that you can be fully here in your heart space and embodied in that place of just allowing the divine to speak through you, flow through you, knowing in that all at all times. And it takes dedication, daily, moment by moment, breath by breath dedication to that inner work.
Yes, yes. And what you're saying, it's embodiment. And so even when we're not on the top of our game, how can we just recognize that and be like, oh, it's like this today. Okay. I need to slow down. I need to soften with myself a little bit.
Mhm.
And that just creates this, this surrendering, this letting go.
Mhm.
So healing can happen, so transmutation of whatever is there, and so often how we're speaking to that aspect of control, which is based on that fear of something. And so how do I keep myself safe? But then there's that other voice that we can choose to listen to, being like, I trust that I am
Mhm.
safe, that I am taken care of in the midst of all danger or chaos or stress that's around us.
Worldwide pandemic, yeah, like all the things, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
And
Trust
then
is my quality. So I love speaking of like, what is the quality that you resonate with, that really would help you embody it, right? Because if you can recognize it in another, that means you have it inside. So if you're recognizing in another how exuberant and joyful they are, then maybe joy is your quality. Or if you're recognizing, like what is something that you really want to hone and embody? You pick a quality and you really work that into your consciousness, really fully knowing it, feeling it, sensing it, being it, residing in it. And so trust was my quality that I chose for graduate school it was my main one. And
Mm.
it's still there because I was really repatterning, working with all the shadow aspects, right? Repatterning myself because in my younger years, I didn't have that. It was so shook from what I experienced in my childhood as, child abuse survivor. So I had to repattern that deeply in myself so that it resides here in my heart, in my consciousness.
That's so beautiful. I love this, that repatterning, or I also like to say reparenting,
Parenting, reparenting.
because, many of us didn't have the parents we wish we would have had. And, it's time to now make a new choice for ourselves, how we are choosing to look at ourselves and our lives and reparent us, to be there for ourselves so that we can trust ourselves, that maybe we couldn't trust, our caregivers or our parents as children entirely, but now relearning that we can trust ourselves.
So important. Yep.
And that piece that you just spoke to also, that if you see it in another, it's because it lives in you. And so often that thing of when we're judging or we're projecting out into the world, something that really triggers or bothers us, then it's because, oh, it's something we need to look at within ourselves,
Mhm.
right? Like, why are we so bothered by this act of such and such if it's not because there's a piece for us in there, right? There is wisdom or there is lessons.
Yes. This is one of the most profound spiritual psychology principles that I love to lean on. It's like memorized. It's something that I always ask myself, how I relate to the issue is the issue.
Mm,
So
right.
that's the same thing. What you're speaking about that's the principle I lean on. So
Yes.
it can be applied anytime. So when there's a judgment, it's self-condemnation. And
Mm,
so when you're judging something or someone or yourself, it's always a self-condemnation. So how am I relating to the issue here? What is the story? What's the dialogue going on around the outer circumstance is a reflection of inner world reality. So
that's
what
exactly.
is how I relate to the issue, it's just a powerful thing to ask yourself no matter what is going on. It can apply to anything. How I relate to the issue is the issue. And then what inner work to start working on and like what forgiveness work to do from there, and apply compassionate self-love.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Especially in the places around comparison and competition that so easily comes up for us, that, when we see other people out in the world, we compare ourselves that we're not quite where they are, or we're judging in the way that they're doing it, and how to turn it around and be like, okay, what is it that I'm projecting onto them that lives in me? What can I own of that? Mm.
Powerful.
Yeah, and use all these pieces
As
as,
learning.
yeah, and as ways to look at yourself and to reorientate yourself, and you're like, oh, this is where the work is.
Mhm.
And and see these people as initiators, as teachers in your life, the ones that trigger you the most, the ones that we're judging out there. And even on that greater screen of politicians or of actors, or those greater bigger archetypes that we love to project upon, be like, why does that thing bother me about that? Because it's so easy to see it on everyone else, in our beloveds or on the actor, or why do they do that thing? And be like,
Mhm.
well, obviously there's something in it for
It
me.
triggers you, it's yours.
Yeah,
Yeah, anything that disturbs our peace is something worthy to look at.
yeah.
It's
And
some
even also in that sense of when we're comparing ourselves, that I don't have what he or she has. But the reason we see it so clearly is because it's a part of our
it's
gift
part of
too.
our exactly. Yes, so true.
And I know for myself, before I really stepped into facilitating and teaching, I would see other speakers And, even my teacher, and I'd be like, wow, they're so eloquent. How do they do that? Like, gosh, I could never. And I used to be so scared to speak in public. I used to get so nervous, so shy. And then once I really started to work with that piece I would just be mesmerized by anybody who is a good speaker. I realized, oh, it's because that's my gift. That's what I'm here to do.
Yes, 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 yes. I acknowledge you. Powerful.
And
you're
that thing that we're the most afraid of is our thing to do.
so
Right?
true. It is so true. It is so true. Very, very well said. Yes. Oh,
So for
God.
anybody out there right now, think of one person that you are judging or criticizing or putting something upon them. And even we could see it on that bigger global stage, like even right now with what's happening in the world with Russia, with Putin. What are all the things that we're projecting upon him that we're so bothered by what they're doing? How have we been a part of that? How have we contributed to that in the way that we think, or that we think we're better than others, or that we can go in and control something or take over something? And how can we own it? And when we can own the smallest part of anything that we're projecting out there, it really creates this space, this opening for transmutation, when we can really hold up that mirror and do that inner work with ourselves.
So true. So I'm going to put in the links here a few of your beautiful. It's this is for Natalia's 13 Moon Priestess Initiation Circle. I'm just putting it in the chat for everybody. I'm going to put all her links. So if you're interested in diving in with this work that Natalia does, she's going to lead us here in a second to do a clearing. I'm going to invite you forward into that. But I just wanted to share in the comments her lovely, lovely offerings. Do you want to give us a little taste of what just before you move into the tool you're here to share? Would you like to just speak a little bit about this full moon circle?
Yeah, so it's, tonight, tomorrow, we're going into this Virgo full moon, right? And it is a powerful time to get really clear and organized and come into alignment. And so I offer these monthly full moon circles that are open to the community, to men, women, to everybody, to just really harness the power of the celestial energies of the moon, of the planets, to use them in our daily life, to bring them forward in how we move in the world. And then also, because right now we're stepping into this equinox portal, right? That is on Sunday, May 20th. And equinox being this time of perfect balance between, before the summer solstice and that part of the winter, we're here in that cross quarter. And this is one of the power days of the earth. So then when we harness the earth energy and this celestial moon energy into our lives to set our intentions, our prayers, our visions for this new cycle that we're going into. And so we do that in community with ritual, with some shadow work, with setting our prayer for ourselves of how I want to show up in the world.
Mm.
And then I'm also right now offering the 13 Moon Priestess Initiate Circle. And this is a year-long circle where we work with 13 archetypes of the divine feminine as different faces to see ourselves in, as different spiritual qualities and alchemy to transmute and work with in our spiritual lives, but really how to bring it forward in our day-to-day lives. And how are we showing up in the world to find our voice, to find our feminine power, to find our strength, and show up to have greater impact in the world.
Mm.
And so this starts on the new moon in April 2nd. And this is a year-long journey with the archetypes of the divine feminine.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm so excited for the sisters that join. What a rich, rich, beautiful program you're offering.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
And I can honestly say I've been in a container with Natalia, and she's an amazing teacher. You have such beautiful, beautiful truths that flow through, and you hold the container so sacred and so powerful. And I really honor you and your work that you bring forward. It's very, very rich and rewarding. I can honestly say I've been a student, and I'm so thankful.
Thank you. right?
Yeah.
That was the embodied ritual leadership course, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's really wonderful to see your work in the world and what you're doing. It's so exciting. Would you like to lead us in a little blessing clearing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm going to switch to so she's going to lead us now in a clearing. And I'm so thankful for this.
So I'm going to invite us to just drop into your being. We have a mudra, a hand gesture that we do in the 13 Moon Mystery School that we call it the Mudra Presence, where we bring our left hand at our heart with the palm facing up, and we bring the right hand perpendicular straight up overhead, and we drop that top hand down. We bring it down perpendicular through our center. And as we do that, we call ourselves in. Call yourself down and into your body, into your heart, into your temple. Just in here, we bow to ourselves, honoring ourselves for showing up, honoring the work that we're doing in the world. So let's do that one more time. That left hand palm facing up and bringing that right hand overhead, and call yourself down and in, calling in your I am presence, your higher self, whatever that is for you, past, present, future, into here now, to be fully available and present here to consciousness, to your growth and awakening. Then I'm going to invite you to find your breath. Take a really deep, audible breath, really lifting up the heart, bringing the shoulders back and down. And as you exhale, just coming down and in, becoming aware of your being and just scanning your body, noticing where you might be holding any tension, what is alive and real for you, and just tuning into that for a moment. And as much as possible, really using the breath as this vehicle to go inward, to clear you out, to become empty. And really speaking that into yourself, empty, empty, empty. As you inhale, drawing in this quality of light, of beingness, of full presence, and using your exhale to just release, to let go. If there's any people, any stress, any part of your day, just releasing it, letting it go, really making that breath audible. When you really focus on the breath, it helps to train the mind to slow down, to be quiet, to be still, and bringing in this quality of presence into your being. And so as I continue speaking, just stay with the breath and really continuously using that exhale to let go, to clearing the mind so that you can become this clear, empty vessel. And as you do that, visualizing for yourself, perhaps there is a chalice cup, perhaps there is a bowl, this divine vessel, this the center of your temple, so that you may allow yourself to open, to contain, to hold, to transmute anything and everything that is coming from down from the divine and is also coming from the world around you. And taking a breath and bringing that breath into the heart, using this place of the heart. And if even it helps you to tap your heart a little bit, feeling your physical, your etheric, and your spiritual heart, drawing your attention into here, seeing that vessel in the heart. And as you inhale once again from that heart, drawing your energy down even further into the center of your body, into your belly button, into your dantian, or as women, into our womb space, that center of our body that is that inner holy of holies, that holds that intuitive body wisdom that we all have within us. Bringing the breath here through the heart down and in. Beginning to ever so slightly rock the hips to bring it into embodiment, into full presence here now. How much can you clear yourself out to empty yourself of any stories, of any people. Every time you notice the mind coming in, using the breath to empty out, seeing yourself as this clear vessel. What is it that I want to hold here in this day, in this vessel of my body temple? The breath, the heart, and that center, that womb, that Dantian place, the center of our being, bringing in greater light. Just taking a moment here, landing fully here, residing here, feeling yourself grounded, allowing for a grounding cord, a taproot, to go down into the earth from your womb space, from that center space, from that belly button, grounding you into Mother Earth Gaia, connecting you with your purpose, with your mission, with your earth walk, regardless of whether or not you fully know it in the mind right now, but knowing that it is available to you here. And then as you inhale, drawing up this earth energy, calling it up into your being to activate you, to ground you, to bring you more fully present. Using that breath, emptying the mind to coming fully into that body temple. And now I invite you to visualize the qualities of what you want to draw into yourself at this time, into your life, into your day, into your projects. Visualizing these aspects. Perhaps it is peace. Visualize what peace is in your being. Perhaps there is a feeling body. Perhaps there is a symbol, a visual, an image. Calling in surrender. How can I surrender more fully to receive my gifts, to receive clarity, to receive vision, to receive strength here now? Perhaps it is coming into greater alignment at this time, aligning yourself with this Virgo energy of clarity, of being in as an arrow coming in, calling in this energy, this quality of inner strength, of a balance. As we're stepping into this equinox portal, we balance our inner masculine and our inner feminine. As we balance our light and our shadows, as we balance above and below, all the qualities that come into this place that we might normally see as duality, as light is dark, or life or death, and bringing them into that center point in the body, feeling that central channel that has us from the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, feeling into these centers, into the belly, into the sacrum, and into your roots. Bringing in all these qualities into the center of your being. Feel into if there's any other qualities that you want to bring in at this time. With the full moon, as the light of the sun is amplified on the moon, what is it you want to shine out and amplify into the world right now? What are the qualities? What is the embodiment, the energy that you want to hold at this time? And perhaps choose 3 of them now, that in your vessel that you will contain, that you will hold for yourself now. And as you step into this time of spring, what are you holding in your life? What are you calling in? What are you visioning for yourself, for your life, and for your projects? Opening yourself to receive this inspiration, this light, this vision now. And see yourself living it, being it. Perhaps it is leading others, being at the forefront of your business, feeling aligned, clear, empowered in everything that you do. without needing to control, without needing to figure it all out or know everything, opening yourself up to the great mystery at this time. Calling in your allies, calling in your guides, your angels, those that walk with you, seen and unseen, to assist you at this time. Ask them, come in and assist me to hold these qualities, to be in the highest and best that I can be at this time. And taking a deep breath, lifting it up, holding it in the heart, holding it for a moment here, holding this vision of yourself, these qualities, this place of balance. Taking another breath and then releasing it. Allowing it to go out, to ripple out from you all around you. Tuning in once again to that vision, to the feeling of what it is you're calling in, and releasing it once again. And then to close, just coming in with your hands here together at the heart and bowing in gratitude. Call in that vibration and frequency of gratitude. Gratitude that these qualities, these aspects, these alignments are alive in you, and seeing them as already so. Seeing all that you're calling into your life, say thank you for it. Seeing it, it's already here, so that you can open up, you can surrender to receive it more fully. And then just bringing a hand here at the heart and a hand down at your center and your womb. And just pressing that in to embodiment. Yes, yes, yes. I am here now and I am listening. Aho, blessed be, blessed be.
Wow. What a sacred honoring you just gave us today. Thank you.
Mm.
The qualities that came through for me, it landed so strongly and felt so delicious.
I invite anyone who feels called to write them into the chat, whatever qualities you have, even if it's one word, for yourself to kind of use those words of power to amplify them out into the field. Let it resonate and ripple out. Write them down for yourself on a journal or even on a piece of paper. And maybe, with this energy of spring, of equinox, you might want to bury them or put them into some seeds or dance them in some way that really makes them real and embodied in your being.
Powerful, powerful offering. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, service was my quality that came forward. So I was just sitting with that and I felt so delicious, just honoring that in my heart.
Mm.
Like serving the light, coming on the planet. Like that just was what came through so strongly for me in that meditation. So thank you.
Yes. And then even with that piece, calling in guidance, calling in spirit, surrendering it to the divine. I am here in service. Show me, how can I be of greater service? How can I put that into practice? Where are the places that I can show up and be of service in these times right now?
Mhm. Yes. Yay. Feels so good. Wow, I'm so honored, and thank you so much for being here with me today, Natalia, in this sacred vessel, in this container together. Your love and your light are just so powerful and strong. I appreciate you. I honor you. Thank you for the viewers that tuned in today and gave us your medicine in the chat box. I'm so grateful. Like, I hope that you carry this out into the world and into yourself. And I hope that this sacred clearing that Natalia gave us today strengthens you and your vessel and gives you more feeling of embodiment.
Yes, and then take it out. Go dance it in the full moon. Go honor it, do something in this light of spring, of what you're vowing to for yourself. What are the practices that you're committing to right now to be in greater alignment and greater self-love to yourself?
Yes, very well said. Yes, yes, yes. Yay. Oh, thank you. I put all the links to Natalia's lovely offerings. Please go check them out. They're all there for you. her beautiful her website, and then also the 13 Moon Mystery School, and also the Full Moon Circle that she offers, which is a free offering. So I encourage you to just go dive in. She's got a lot of juicy nuggets to give and unfold, and it's beautiful.
Yes, please reach out and connect with me. I love just getting feedback, hearing from people, and making a connection. And this full moon, it's full of other people as well. And it's happening tomorrow night, Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. Awesome. That's wonderful. This Virgo moon is going to be very, very powerful. So I encourage you to jump in there, and her circles are so potent. So I just encourage you to do it. Sign up. And for those that are curious, so I'm going to put my link tree in the chat also, which will also have the Self Love Show YouTube link that you can go to, and it also has a link for signing up for Reclaim Your Trust, and I'm going to put that in there also for those women that are seeking just more alignment with trust, the quality of trust, and to embody that and really land in that in the places, and just have a sacred container to explore, your relationship with yourself around trust and what has happened in your life. And it's a beautiful sacred container of amazing women, and we would love to have you join us. So I'm going to also put this link in the chat box too. I'm just going to copy it here and put it in there, and we would love to have you join us. And for those,
I just really want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the world, and the way that you just keep showing up and giving of your light and using it to uplift so many. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That means everything to me. The Self Love Show was birthed out of a place of the opportunity came so organically, and I just gracefully stepped in and was like, thank you, Spirit. And I'm excited to launch in the near soon. I'm going to launch my program that I've been cultivating over the year, and it's very exciting. I'm just kind of getting all the parts together. It's taken a minute. The technology piece is the piece that is like, but it's good.
Well, please let me know how I can support you.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you for that offer. Yes, I will. I will send you the links and things once I'm really like pushed go on the launch. I'll send it all to you.
Yes.
But for those that are curious and interested, there's just go to any of the links in my link tree. There's a lot of great information in there for you to explore, and I encourage you again to go into Natalia's links and just check out her amazing website, and please sign up for the Moon Circle. It's so good. I've gotten such value over the year of participating in your Moon Circles. Like, they're so delicious. They land every time, and it's for me at least, I can honestly say. And I appreciate just sharing in the service light with you in this way. It's so fun, and I love collaboration on every level. And this just expands everyone's heart and self-love, and that's why it's called the Self-Love Show, because there's so many aspects of how we honor ourselves, and it can show up in a lot of different ways. And so it's beautiful. It's beautiful to just continue the honoring of self-love through this show. And thank you for saying yes. And thank you for your sacred yes that flows through your heart daily in service. I really appreciate it so much.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Dawn.
And we just want to say thank you also to Scott Katamas, the founder of Love Coach Academy, who's been the muse for the show, and also, Summer for Sine Wave. They've been so just amazing, and they spread our message far and wide on Facebook, and we get to share others' messages also. And it's been such a great catalyst and sharer of like powerful messages. So thank you again for our viewers that tune in weekly. I encourage you to go check out the YouTube channel, which is there for your viewing, and so many great shows over the past 2 years. And thank you again, Natalia, for being such a wonderful lighthouse today.
Yay. Blessed be, Dawn.
We'll see you again next week. We'll have another amazing show. And until then, I hope you have a powerful, powerful spring equinox birthing. Get your intentions down on paper like we shared today. And I hope you have a powerful full new moon that you really get to anchor the seeds of spring in your heart.
Oh.
Mwah! Blessings out to you all. Okay. Have a wonderful week.